up, guys? So today I am finally doing this 20 question Q&A video that I promised at 5,000 subscribers, and clearly we are like 30,000 subscribers more than that right now, but in my defense it grew pretty rapidly and I owe that all to you guys, so thank you. So we're just gonna jump right into it. The questions that I have to answer are ones that I posted to be asked on Instagram, partly because I wanted to bring my Instagram peeps over to YouTube, and partly because I've had Instagram for a long time. I feel like my followers know me pretty well and they're able to ask some legitimate questions. Whereas I feel like at this point, if I left it up to YouTube, like I said, it was only at 5,000 subscribers then, and from YouTube, you guys really only know me like from the fun videos that I post. Why is your Escalade not 4-wheel drive? Which it is, guys, it broke, okay? Freaking broke. Anyways, I feel like Instagram just has some more legitimate questions. I'll introduce myself. My name is Lacey. I'm 24 years old. I live in a small town in Missouri. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a hair salon and auto shop, do marketing here and there. And that's pretty much the basis. Caffeine alcoholic, I didn't mean that. Caffeine-aholic, like not alcohol included, but I'm addicted to caffeine. And that's pretty much it. I also just want to say before I get started that probably like 80% of the questions that I got were based around business, work ethic, entrepreneurship. And that like makes me super happy, because that just means that I'm genuinely portraying myself on Instagram like how I actually am, because all that's like super important to me. And I just get messages that people are like motivated, inspired. That just means so much. So I'm gonna answer some of those questions for you guys, and thank you for just being interested in that kind of stuff. So this video is gonna be 20 questions, me answering them. If you really don't wanna care and you really don't want to listen to me talk, then this is probably not a video that you want to watch. But if you do care, this is gonna answer some questions that maybe a lot of you guys have. If you hate me for some reason and you're just here to be nosy, I welcome you as well, and happy that you're here. By the way, guys, if you love Red Bull and you have an addictive personality, I do not recommend trying the Red Bull slushies at Sonic, because it will ruin your life like it has mine. I'm gonna start with the questions. This is my work phone, probably like an iPhone 6 or something, so don't judge that. So we're just gonna get right into it with the first question. It's kind of nerve-wracking, guys. Don't mind my pants. I literally wearing pajama pants because it's midnight and I don't wanna wear real pants, so here we are. All right, so the first question is, what was your first truck? My first truck was 2008, single cab dually, 6.4 Power Stroke. It was white. It had like some, gosh, I think there were like 20-inch like dually wheels on them. They were like the American Eagle alloy, something just a little, literally bought it with those on it. Nothing super custom. The only thing custom that I did was I painted the emblems pink and then put like a pink bandana in my rear view, and I thought that I was so cool. And I had it like deleted and tuned, and I thought it was so fast. I literally had this little like fake license plate that hung from my mirror that said like "too fast for you." It was a total diesel douchebag. So that was my first truck, and I love that thing. I still miss it every day, honestly. I love 6.4s, just saying. And single cab dually. Single cab dually, anything, I'm all about it. Question number 2, what is your next business venture? So as of right now, I would consider YouTube kind of my next business venture. I'm going to start treating it more like a business. It's definitely having a return on investment for me right now, and I'm having a blast doing it. So that is definitely the next business venture for me. Before that, and technically I guess after that, my next actual like brick and mortar business plan is about 2 years ago, I bought 40 acres to build a wedding venue in my hometown, kind of like a barn, like a rustic, not really like a full-blown barn, but like a rustic kind of wedding venue. I have the land, which was the first step, and basically it's just been like, gotta take it one project at a time. So still have quite a bit of time before that is in the works, but at least I have the first step done and I got the ideas all up here. Question number 3 is, how did you get started in the truck scene and what made you stick with it? I guess I'd consider the truck scene like going to truck shows, etc. The first truck that I had that I actually went to shows with, I think it was like a 2012, it was a 4th gen Dodge, it was silver. Already lifted and everything, but I ended up adding like custom pink headlights, like painted with like pink halos. I was that girl. And then like 2414s and like Nitto 375s, and it had like a 6-inch lift on it. And so I started taking that to truck shows. I've always liked the thought of, you know, what I drive is like different, like custom stuff. Like I've always wanted to do things to whatever I drive. Started out just going to like some local shows, and I actually got out of like a rough relationship and was just kind of like, you know, I'm just gonna kind of focus on myself and start making new friends like out of just my small town. Basically at that time I was working a crap ton for sure, like 7 days a week nonstop. I work like 28 days out of the month and then be gone for like 2 days out of the month at a truck show. And I would take like a girlfriend and we would just find whatever show was going on. We'd drive 5, 10, 12 hours, go to the shows and meet some new friends. And honestly, that was like the coolest thing for me. Just being able to meet friends in like all different states and you all have the same passion, and like staying in touch on Instagram. I just thought that was so cool. It was like a family and just something completely different than what I was used to. And that's really what got me addicted to that, was just being able to see the same people at each show and just having like a family, just appreciating each other's builds and hanging out, having a good time with good people. The question is, what keeps you motivated all the time? So I would not say that I'm motivated all the time, but what gets me up in the morning is literally just pure freaking anxiety. Like honestly, my phone never really stops going off with like clients and customers and stuff, but if it's going to start, it's normally like around 6 a.m. So it's that anxiety of there's things to do, blah, blah, blah. And also the just anxiety day to day of I am not where I want to be in life. And that's enough motivation for me to do what I need to do to get where I want to be. Not that I think there's a destination, but just that I'm always trying to better myself, I guess. And also Red Bull and coffee, that helps a lot. Knowing that we gotta hustle, you know what I'm saying? What advice would you give to a young entrepreneur or someone wanting to start their own business? So for a really young entrepreneur, like someone 18 or something, first of all, work on building your credit for sure. Get like I'm no freaking expert at any of this, but this is what I would tell myself if I could talk to my 18-year-old self, or give some kind of advice to any youngsters out there, you know? Build your credit, get like a credit card, just put gas on it, pay it off. Save money like crazy, work like freaking crazy when your friends are out partying. Literally be doing something to get to where you want to be in the future 7 days a week. Like wake up and be like, okay, what do I need to do to get to where I need to be? Also, I think anyone's key to starting a business should be pick something that you're passionate about, because if you aren't, like any kind of business, it is not easy. Like there's gonna be times it sucks. There's gonna be 100% guarantee you're gonna be broke for a long time sometimes. You're gonna struggle You're gonna be mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, then it's not gonna last. It's never too early to start, it's never too late to start. Also, just like a little tidbit of someone that wants to open like a brick and mortar business, like say like me with my salon. If you're wanting to start a business that is a physical location, I highly recommend trying to own the building that you have it in. And if you have the space, having like an apartment in the building, or rent out like half of the building, or live in half of the building, anything to be able to have some kind of income to cover that mortgage, that's like key. Like I've done that at the salon, at the shop, like that is key to limiting your overhead. Like I said, I'm absolutely no expert, but if that's what you're trying to do, if I could go back and tell my younger self something, it would be to invest in real estate earlier. I would buy like a condo. I guess it'd be a condo. I don't know, like a two family apartment. I would live in one half and I'd rent out the other half, and hopefully be able to find a good enough deal where the other family's rent pretty well paid the mortgage. And I would do that a couple times. If I had to do it over, that's probably what I would start with. Okay, so we've got a fun question here in the mix. What is your favorite build on Instagram? So I know it right off the top of my head. This might come to kind of a surprise for you guys. I'm gonna pull it up on this iPad because I don't remember the Instagram name 100%, and I wanna just make sure I'm right. Drifter's Garage. I will put their Instagram name down here at the bottom. You guys go search, check it out. Like I said, it might come to kind of surprise actually what my favorite build is. Yeah, I mean, they're low key. They have like 6,000 followers, and I'm just in love with this thing every time I see it. I mean, it literally is from the ground up. Oh my gosh, every time I see this thing on Instagram, I absolutely love it. And I want to say it's my favorite just because it is so different and it's such an underrated build. Leave it in the comments. Am I crazy, or do you guys love it just as much as me? I loved it even with primer on it. So the next question is, what advice would you give someone just graduating beauty school and starting their own business as a stylist? I actually get this question a lot. Will you hear when you're in beauty school, when you're just getting out, it's insanely hard to build a clientele. It's basically marketing yourself, hoping that people will like you, like your work, be loyal to you. Thankfully, my clientele built up really fast, and I think the main key point to that is, like I said, you're not your own boss, your clients are your boss. When you're first starting out, you need to be completely at their disposal. So if someone is like, hey Lacey, can you do my hair at midnight on a Sunday? I'm like, yeah girl, I'll be there. There's days that you may sit there with no clients. That's just the name of the game. But when you do get a client, you're not gonna work 9 to 5. You know, you're absolutely not. As a stylist, you do make your own schedule. So once you get your clientele built up, you can pick when you wanna work. But when you're starting out, you have to work the long, ridiculous hours and basically do whatever your clients want from you. And that's how you're gonna gain their loyalty. It's being hungry, and that's how you're gonna build your clientele and a sustainable business. What first got you into trucks? So what very first got me into trucks when I don't even know how old, I was young. It was when the 6.0 Power Strokes first came out. My dad got one as a work truck, and he would drive me to school in it. And it was literally like a single cab, long bed, like stock as can be. And I thought it was the freaking coolest thing ever. Like the sound of it, the smell of it. I loved that turbo whistle. I could literally like hear him coming down the road about to pick me up from softball practice, and I'm like, I can't wait to get in that truck. We called it the Rattle Dog. That was our stupid name for it, me and my dad. And like I said, completely stock. I loved that thing, and that is honestly what made me first fall in love with not only trucks but diesels. And then of course Monster Jam, just going to Monster Jam as a kid growing up. Big, loud, obnoxious trucks. I've just always loved it. So the next question is, why an Escalade? So this is referring to, which I'm sure you guys have seen it on my channel if you watch my other videos, my build for SEMA last year, which I still currently have. 2015 Escalade on Boggers. Why I did an Escalade, so I work with a company called Monat, which is hair products, Monat hair products, and it is a multi-level marketing business, and I still currently work with them. But when you hit a certain rank within the company, they give you a payment allowance towards any white Cadillac, but it has to be white, it has to be 5 years old or newer, and yeah, you have to like maintain that rank. So I guess I first got the Escalade stock, it was probably like exactly a year and a couple months ago. So I had hit this rank in the company, been working my butt off for it. And crazy actually how obtainable it really was. So I had qualified for the payment allowance. So a lot of people will be like, oh, you got that truck for free, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. You know, if any multi-level marketing company is gonna say that they get free vehicles, they're totally stretching the truth. So what Monat does is when you hit this rank and you maintain it for, it's like 3 months qualifying. So they'll give you a down payment. At that time, I think it was like $1,500 down that they give you. And then they'll give you a payment allowance based on your rank. So I was getting like a first level payment allowance. My payment's always been more than that. So that just kind of like helped it out. So it's far from free, but it was awesome that, you know, they offered that. So fast forward to now, I have not maintained that rank with the company for, gosh, probably 6 months or so. Probably since SEMA really, because it was like, with the shop, with the salon, with SEMA, everything, basically Monat was kind of put on the back burner, and still at this point in my life it kind of is, which is the great thing about that business. You can kind of step away if you need to. You just kind of work it at your own pace. I'm still selling the products, still have my team of girls. I'm just have a lot of irons in the fire where I'm not dedicating as much time to it as I was, and it's all, I mean, that clearly shows it's all what you put into it is exactly what you get out of it. Another confusing part is, so when you qualify for the Cadillac, you can, I'll just kind of explain this a little bit because I feel like it is confusing to people. So you can either lease it or you can buy it in your name, and like I said, they'll give you the payment allowance. So clearly I bought it in my name because I've completely ruined it, as a lot of people on YouTube would say. It's fully customized now, so clearly I couldn't do that to a leased vehicle. Because normally I am not like a Cadillac kind of gal, you know? So basically when I was like, okay, so I can pick a white Cadillac, like I said, you know, has to be a white Cadillac, 5 years old or newer. I'm like, well, I want to get the closest thing to a truck that I can get. So I got the Escalade ESV, like the extended one, and I'm like, I'm gonna lift this sucker, okay? It's great to promote my Monat business, etc. I'm gonna build it, like I'm gonna Lacey it up real good, okay? I was actually, for SEMA, the year that I built the Escalade, was going to build a D100 that I had bought. Why did you decide to put boggers on the Escalade? So like I said, I'm not really like an Escalade kind of gal, so I really wanted to truck it up. When I was deciding on how high to lift it, I don't know why I wasn't thinking like custom suspension at the time, but I was thinking bolt-on kit, what's the tallest that I can possibly get? So like the LST Texas show before, I might have had the Escalade, I think I had the Escalade, and it was stock. So at that show, I was literally going around to like every lifted Tahoe and Escalade, like I was literally like lifting my leg up to them, like what can I not get in without steps? Because that's how tall I want it. Wide Body King, actually, that's his name on Instagram. He built a black and like rose gold Escalade. I think it's his wife's, and I like saw his in person, and it was the 15-inch FTS kit, and I'm like, okay, this is what I need because I cannot get in it, and that's what I want. So that's how I decided of the height. So at the time, the guys at the shop were like, that's gonna be too big, Lacey, like that's excessive. And I'm like, no, I want it as big as I can possibly go. So I knew I was going to do the 2616 Hostile Forged. And the original plan was that I was going to do Fury tires 42-inch. And that was like the biggest tire that I could think of at the time. And actually, the boys were trying to talk me into doing 40s because they said 42-inch would be too big. And then I go to 44-inch boggers. But so I wasn't going to listen to them about the 40s. I wanted the 42s. First of all, I love Fury Tires and everyone that works there. So I was excited to work with them. But we got in at the shop. It was another one of the guys that had a build in the Hostile booth. His tires got shipped to our shop because we were going to bring them with us to Vegas so that, you know, he could mount them up and everything. Dude, Lovejoy's Dodge. It was like the patina Dodge that was in the Hostile booth. You've probably seen in some of my videos. And so we got them in at the shop, and I literally walk in and see them, and I'm like, I gotta have those. And they're like, yeah, aren't these awesome? And I'm like, no, I gotta have those like on the Escalade. Like, I want those. And the boys are like, you're freaking crazy. Like, who puts boggers on an Escalade? Like, that's ridiculous. They're not gonna fit, blah, blah, blah. But they decided to humor me. So they're like, okay, well, while we have Dalton's tires here, let's just mock them up and see if they would fit, what they would look like. And I'm like saying my prayers over here. I'm like, they're gonna fit. Let's just take a hacksaw to the fender. Like, it's gonna be totally fine. They're definitely, they have to fit. And anything else at this point, once I already have that in my mind, is gonna be basic. So I need these to work. So we test fitted up Dalton's tires. Lo and behold, they fit. And all the boys were like, okay, they actually look pretty cool. And I'm like, yes, so I need them. They were hard to get. They only made so many sets for SEMA. And we had called Interco, and they're like, yeah, we can't within this time frame. This is like, I don't know, maybe a month and a half before SEMA, something like that. And they're like, there's absolutely no way that we can get them made in that amount of time. So it just so worked out that another build that was going to SEMA had the tires, and they didn't fit on their truck, and they needed the Fury 42s that I had. So we literally just traded, and it worked out perfect. So it was literally by the grace of God that I ended up with boggers. Like, my man. I always say, a little classy, a little white trashy, had to redneck it up a little bit, so that's why I picked the boggers. Biggest tires, possibly fit, that's what I wanted. The next question is, have you always had the work ethic that you have now? Pretty much my whole adult life, I guess. I'm just gonna dig back in memory lane today and just tell you guys all about my life, basically. I actually got married when I was 18. I married my high school best friend, and we had a house that we straight up could not afford, like, at all. So I was in beauty school. Pretty much we had no choice but to freaking work our butts off, or we couldn't pay our electric bill. So while I was in beauty school, I pretty much always worked like 3 jobs. I worked as a waitress, and then I would come home. I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings, so they stay open late. So I would literally go to beauty school all day, go work at Buffalo Wild Wings, come home and do hair until like 1 in the morning in my kitchen. Also, while I was in beauty school, I was a receptionist at a salon. And then when I wasn't a waitress, I worked at a local gas station, like the super early morning shifts. So then I could go to my other job, and then I could do hair at night. Oh yeah, and then I forgot, I worked at the mall too, because the first salon that I worked at, that I receptioned at, was in the city. So then I just worked at the mall in the city and then did hair at home. So I had like a ton of jobs while I was in beauty school, and we were struggling. So that really conditioned me for everything, I feel like. So I feel like I've always put myself in situations where I'm absolutely not ready for what I'm doing. So then that pushes me to work harder. Putting yourself in a situation to have bills you can't afford? Absolutely not. But basically, what I'm saying is always work like you can't pay your bills. And so when I literally couldn't, that's what just made kind of working a crap ton just kind of normal to me. Also, I feel like I jumped off of that subject. Clearly, me getting married at 18 didn't work out, but it's all good. What's your favorite truck you've owned? This will also come to a surprise to a lot of you probably. Literally my favorite truck that I've owned, it was, let's see, I think it was a 94 7.3 single cab dually. Like I said, I'm all about the single cab dualies. Rust on it, you could literally see through the bed. Paid way too much for it, put way too much money in it. We used to leak oil like crazy, as all 7.3s do. But yeah, I absolutely loved that thing. It reeked like oil. It's loud, it's obnoxious, and I just freaking love every little bit of it. So I had that also when I had my silver 4th gen. So yeah, and the funnier thing about it was when I bought it, I couldn't drive a stick shift. So me trying to drive that thing was absolutely hilarious, but it was just my favorite, like roll the windows down, cruise on a summer day kind of truck. Absolutely loved it. Literally, it was the one that got away, for sure. So while I'm on the subject of my old truck, the silver Cummins and that OBS that I had, I actually sold both of those to buy the land that I was talking about and buy the shop building. So that was painful as crap, and I literally drove like a $600 car for like a year, but I had to sell them to make like the down payments and everything to buy those properties, and I'm really glad that I did, but that is why I sold them, and that's why honestly both of those are the ones that got away. It was to better my future, so I'm okay with it, but one day I would either like to own that OBS again, and honestly I'd love to get a 4th gen again. So this next question was definitely asked a lot, and I honestly wasn't gonna answer it, but I'm just gonna answer it. What happened to you and Zach? So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you know, or maybe even on YouTube, because he's in some of my videos, obviously the older ones. Nosy people. So I had a boyfriend named Zach. So cool, honestly, about the Instagram community is that you guys supported me and Zach together like so much, to the point where when we split up, I was sad for anyone to even know, just because I knew it was gonna be devastating to some people. We were together for 2.5 years, and we split up probably like about 6 months ago, I guess it's been now. So right from the beginning, we tried to stay friends. We got into a couple little, like, you know, crap's not roses and rainbows. We got into some arguments. It was tough. I mean, being with someone that long and having a life with them and doing business with them and just everything, is not an easy transition. Just in a nutshell, basically, I was in like a fantasy world of what I wanted things to be and how they actually were. It just wasn't a real thing. So we were just on 2 different pages with life, with business, with just everything. And it took me a while to like really basically to realize that and to accept it. I know that it was the best move for both of us, that we just simply weren't meant to be together. When people first ask me about it, they're like, oh, someone must have cheated. Like, no, that didn't happen. It's like a messed up world that we live in, that's automatically what people think, but I never cheated on him. To my knowledge, he never cheated on me. I might be sounding dumb saying that right now if he did, but still to this day, to my knowledge, he did not. So basically it was just 2 different people, and we just weren't meant to be. I mean, we have a lot of the same interests. We're obviously in the same industry and still have a lot of the same mutual friends. So ultimately right now, I think that we support each other, and I think we're both in better places even than what we were together. So I think that that's probably not the answer that everyone's fishing for. So the next question is, what was your first car ever? A 1994 pink Geo tracker. It was like one of the convertible ones that had like a white hard top on it. It had a death wobble if it went over like 48 miles an hour. A little rough, but I absolutely love that thing, and if I had it today, I would cruise around in that thing so hard. And I bought every single rhinestone accessory that AutoZone sold, and I like blinged out my entire radio, my vents, everything. Got like seat covers, steering wheel covers. I was like spray painting everything on the outside. I was full blown Lacey Blair customizing that thing. So the next question is, and I actually got this question quite a few times, the same exact question, which Monat products would be best for my hair? Monat has products for every single hair type and every single hair issue. What I would recommend is different for everyone. So if you guys have that question and you're wondering what would be best for your hair, send me a message on Instagram and I'll just kind of ask you a little bit about your hair and I'll recommend the best products for you. Who is your favorite person to kick it with? And I like the word kick it with. My favorite person to kick it with is my friend Emily. I know you guys have probably seen her on my channel. She is just honestly the coolest girl that I know. We can have fun doing nothing or we can have fun doing anything. And like she's always down to work right beside me, get whatever we need to get done, help make my life easier, help make our lives together easier. She's no drama. Like she's basically like a dude, the good qualities of a dude in a girl's body. And honestly, there's nothing more that you could ask for. So you could not ask for a more supportive, more just freaking positive person to be around. I mean, the girl literally like radiates positivity and I need that in my life sometimes so bad. I would just freaking die without her. What is your dream vehicle? That's like honestly a hard question because there's so many. If like money was just no object, I would love to have a race truck, a pull truck, a mega truck, a show truck, a couple mud trucks, like just all of the things. I want to build a Kodiak C4500, a flatbed on it, and just make it freaking ridiculously huge and black it out. That is what I want. Anything military grade, I absolutely love. Like I'd love to have a deuce and a half, love to have a tank. That would be cool. That's a dream vehicle for sure. Those Sherpas or whatever those things are that literally are like little tanks that run over everything. I'd love to have one of those. I have a weird obsession with dump trucks. I'm hoping within the next year I own a dump truck, literally for no particular reason. I just love them. I don't know how to explain it. It's literally like in my blood. Like if I'm driving and I pass a dump truck, I instantly am like snapping my neck at it. I can't even help it. Like I can't even explain why I like them or what I would even do with it, but I know that I want one. I just have a lot. I don't think I can narrow it down really, but hopefully I'll like have them all one day. That'd be cool. Another dream vehicle. I want like a really clean first gen. For sure, with a hood stack. What kind of music do I listen to? I listen to anything from literally the trashiest gangster rap you can ever think of to like red dirt country, kind of like old style country, Randy Rogers Band, Wade Bowen, Whiskey Myers is one of my favorites, Turnpike Troubadours, stuff like that. Basically one extreme to the other. Pretty much will listen to anything besides like screamo. I'm really not about that. So next question is, what's next for a build? Are you doing SEMA this year? So if everything goes well, I am doing a SEMA build this year. I'm honestly glad I didn't film this like a month ago when I was supposed to because I thought I had my mind made up and it's honestly changed so many times. Right at this moment, I'm still not sure what I am going to be building. And I don't even know if I would say if I was because I think I want it to be a surprise. But 98% sure I will be building something for SEMA this year for the Hostile Wheels booth. Really need to get rolling on it. I have a couple different ideas. I mean, I always have ideas, but it's basically just locking it down and making it happen. Hopefully within the next month, things are gonna play out and I will have some announcements for you guys. That wraps it up, guys. If you're still watching, thank you. Claps to you because just really not all that interesting, but hopefully you learned something about me. And if you guys have any more questions here on YouTube, drop them in the comments. I'll make another video answering some of the questions, and can't wait to hear from you guys.